Good afternoon, everybody. There we go. Hello, Linda. Hello, Jennifer. How is everybody doing today? We had a few wet days in Calgary, but it's finally drying up now. So it's a good day to get out while we still can, and it's pleasant out today. Hello, Connie. And of course, it's always a good day to do crafting. Hello, Julie from Winnipeg. How's Vernon today, Connie? Hopefully most of Canada is pleasant. Now it's June. Hope you guys are all having a great week so far. I can't believe it's Thursday already. We are going to make a stenciled card today with this beautiful stamp from Altenew. It rains and it's sunny and it rains, not cold. Yeah, I think that's Calgary weather right now, Connie. If you guys haven't seen in the shop, there's lots of new Altenew. And this is one of the new products. This is the Magnolia Ballerina stamp and stencil, and then the die to cut it out. There's several different floral sets that are new. There's a bunch of new ink pads, the sets of 4. So if you look, if you're searching under mini cube for the Altenew ones, and then the Pink Fresh also has the 4 sets, and lots of them are in the colors that are kind of achieve that ombre effect. Hello, Tammy. So welcome to everybody who popped in. We are going to make this card. I don't have a lot of new stuff right in front of me to show you, but if you're looking to see what's new on the website, you just have a look at the June 1st, and you'll see everything that's new. There's lots of new stuff, and I think Sandy had done lots of markdowns too, so you can see what's in the markdown, the sale section as well. Let's see here. I think I have one thing that I was going to show you last week, but I hadn't grabbed, and this Tailored Expressions mini tear-off calendar. These are in like a set of, I think it might be 10. You get 10 of these mini ones. I think they'd be really good for a project, either to do with a bunch of friends or to make and to give out calendars. Any card kits. I don't think we have any card kits, Connie. The ones like we do at the carnival, they usually only come out at the carnival. And then the kits throughout the year are the scrapbook kits that you can do yourself. So these little calendars, I'm going to give you a look at them. They are dated for 2023 from January to December. And I split them up with this one pack up with some of the girls from Shotz, and we're going to each make a little project. But what I was even thinking was at IKEA, you get those little frames that sit up on like almost a little pedestal. They're super cheap. They're like a plastic frame, and you just drop the picture in the top. And I'm going to have to measure for sure, but I think they're 4x6. And I think that you could make a 4x6 even something like this, and then put your little calendar piece on the bottom, and so do a different maybe floral for each month. So that's what I'm thinking. I thought they would go really nice with these Altenew florals, so we will see. Connie, you're working on your card kit from the carnival. Yes, they are amazing, aren't they? Carolyn is the lady who does those for us, and she puts so much work into them, and they're just so beautiful. Hello, Georgia. Well, I will pass on your request to have more card kits, and we'll see what happens, okay? So this is what we're going to make. This particular color of mirror card is not in the shop. I just had it in my stash, but I thought I would use it. This is the Tonic Craft Perfect, but there's different colors of the mirror card in the store. And if you're looking for this in particular, you can send Sandy an email, and if she can get it in, then she will. Any of the mirror cards have such a beautiful finish on them, and they work gorgeous for embossing. If you don't have the mirror card and you want to try any other like metallic cardstock, lots of different companies, and there's lots of metallic cardstock in the shop. It works beautifully with embossing folders as well. You can really see the detail when you emboss with anything that's like metallic or mirrored. It just gives you such a great look. Hello, Gwen. So we're going to emboss our background. This is the Spellbinders Geo Screen. I know this is still in the shop. The Geo Screen. And it's like a 3D folder. This is nice because it is larger, and I thought for this card, I don't do this often, but I would make a 5x7, and it's actually, I think it was like a base that I got maybe like from a Michael's pack or something, and I had a bunch laying around, and I thought, why don't I use them? They're such a nice size, and I've seen lots of people do the 5x7 cards lately. And they do give you so much more space. Now you don't have to. I even cut a little bit off of this, so if you were just putting it on an A2, then you would just cut off where you wanted to. But I thought the 5x, this is about 6.5. It just gave you a lot more real estate to showcase that beautiful flower. And these larger embossing folders can accommodate 5x7 or a slim line, so they're nice that way if you're not sure what size you want to do. So we will go ahead and emboss that, and then we've got the stencil. This is the stamp set, and I have to show you this stamp set. It is beautiful. So you've got your large flower, and then you have so many sentiments. I think it's just fabulous. And I really love when you get lots of sentiments on your stamp sets. So lots of different things that you can send this for. A giggle a day keeps the grumps away. So cute. You've got this extra smile word that you can pair with lots of other things, like you make my heart smile, or nothing changes the day like a smile. And then you have all kinds of different sentiments. Hope today is beautiful, sending hugs, lots of different reasons to send a card or occasions. So that's the stamp set. The die set that coordinates is the outline of the flower. And the stencils, it's a 3-piece stencil set, and it actually has etched on the top. You've got the layers, so 1, 2, 3, so you know which layers to do where, and I'm going to show you how that works. You could do this on its own. So this, I'm going to show you one here. With the stamp set, you always get, with Altenew, you get lots of different ideas on how to do the stamps. This is one that they've just used. It looks like the stencil, with, and it's so beautiful, and it's just so lightly shaded. I have got to try this color combination. It just looks gorgeous. And then they give you some pieces that you can actually just cut out. You could replicate that, or you could cut this out and use it as an actual piece. So it gives you lots of ideas, and those are in with their stamp sets. So we've got that as an idea sheet. And then the dye inks, I think the ones in the shop are a little bit different color combination, but you're going to get the idea of how to layer those inks, especially when you've got the colors from light to dark. So I think the inks definitely are on my wish list to get more of these inks. I love how they blend together. And you can see I kind of started with lighter, and then various petals I did darker, and it just gives you such a cool shade. Plus they have the little mini blenders in the shop, and I don't have those here, but those are really good for adding a little bit of shading. So let's start out by stenciling our flower. So I'm just going to get set up here. I've got a piece of this media grip, which I know Sandy has on order. I think it had sold out. So she's going to get some of that in. It's just a really nice surface to put anything you're stenciling on, or if you have the stencil mat, that's really great as well. And I'm just using this Make Art Station. And then we'll go with stencil number 1, and then we just have to line it up. So you're just going to match up, and you really can't make a mistake on these. There's just so beautiful. Even if you go out of the lines a bit, when you cut out the edges, it's going to look perfect. Have you guys tried any of these layering stencils that match up to the stamp sets? And it's a nice way to color something like a large floral as well. You can go ahead and you can color these in with Copics or whatever you want. It's just nice to have this option if you want to do some inking. So I'm going to start out with the lightest ink here. Why doesn't it sit square? So why, it's just the way I stamped the stamp, Linda. I think that's what you mean. Like if I had stamped the stamp on a piece of paper that was the same size as this, it would be square. It's just that I stamped it this way, and then I'm just matching the stencil up to where I stamped. I think that's what you mean. So when I put my stamp on my paper, I just had it turned around, that's all. All right, so we've got this lined up. Then we're going to start out with the lightest ink here. This is Pastel Sunrise. There's another one, another ink set in the shop that has like pink, like a pinky red. Okay, good. That's what you meant. If you're looking for that color combination. And let's see, I just grabbed a couple brushes. And I'm going to have a drink. So brushes, of course, work really well when you're trying to do a larger area or anything that has details. And I'm also just going to grab a piece of scrap paper. Just don't need it for a little bit of masking. And you can do it heavier at the base if you want your petals to kind of fade out to a little bit lighter. So I'm not going heavy-handed. Hello, Wainwright Stampede. The bloom, you have it, and yeah, it is gorgeous. You're gonna have to get it out now. It's so beautiful. And I love the process of doing like the inking because it's magical when you pull off that stencil. So I'm really not doing anything other than just inking and going over it lightly, and then I'm going to put a little bit darker near the base. And I'm going to then go in with a little bit darker color. But it's going to look so beautiful. So there's lots of color combinations you could do with this. They had pinks and purples and of course that light gray for the magnolia blossom. All right. I think I'm going to, I don't even remember exactly what the combination was that I used with this. So let's go in. I think we'll do this one, the next one, which is Canyon Clay, but you could go up and do a darker one as well. You're in Stampede mode, that's all right. Well, when you think about it, Stampede is not that far away. And I'm guessing, is this Lorraine? So are you having a Stampede in Wainwright? So we're just doing it light. Well, it's going to be darker, but I'm just going light-handed. But if you had those, the Altenew blenders, then you can get in and get pretty detailed. All right, so we've got this one. Let's have a look. Your Stampede is next week. Wow, it's very early, hey? Or maybe it's not early, just early. I don't know, I still feel like June is early. So look how beautiful that is. And that was so easy. Okay, then we are going to layer on number 2. Again, you're just gonna line that up. Really basic. And you do want to make sure when you're wiping these off, I found I just wiped them off with a wipe and they came completely clean. There are some really little detailed areas, so you just want to be really careful when you wipe it. So if there's something that's really small and detailed, like this little piece here, just wipe it inside. Don't go like back and forth quickly with the cloth because you might catch it. So we're going to go in with this second color. And I'm just going to add, and I guess Calgary Stampede is in July. And we are not big Stampede fans, so I never really pay attention too much to when it actually is. So this is that color, the second color in, and the second kind of lightest tone. So I'm going to do all of the leaves on the second stencil with this. It is a beautiful one. I think the sentiments though are my favorite I mean, I love the flower, I love the stenciling, but I really love that they have so many sentiments included in the set. And stenciling, just the nature of it, you get some darker areas, and so it always just looks beautiful. And then you can see as you go over it and keep going over it, you're going to get it darkening up. You've been on the executive here for over half that time. Okay. 3rd week of June. And is it, hopefully it's nice weather than usually, maybe not as hot as it normally would be here, which would be a good thing. Because sometimes Stampede in July here is so hot, and then you have, you know, hail, because we get weird weather in the summer once you get super hot weather. I think we just haven't gone to a lot of Stampede stuff here because it's so busy. And then when you have, our kids are a little bit older now, but always when they were smaller, it just seemed like so much work, and sometimes going downtown with little kids is tricky. I'm going to move that a little bit. I'm just going to put it back now. So I'm just holding this steady because this one here was bending a little bit and I didn't want it to bend. There. And you could add a little bit of pixie spray as well if you found there were a few little areas that were lifting up. I find blending too is just so relaxing. Whether you're doing a background or doing the layered stencils. And I love the layered stencils. Okay, so I've got my base of color and I'm just going in with a little bit darker, a little bit, pressing a little bit harder. Okay. So this is our second layer. Beautiful. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Is I forgot to add that darker color. So it's easy to put it back on. I was so excited about the reveal. Let's just go in and add a little bit of darker. I'm just going to go to that next color and use a smaller brush. If you do have a darker color that you're using, it's nice to start on the stencil and move it off so that you don't have like a big blob of something dark. So I'm putting it on that center part and then just pulling it out. I see a lot of cards that have the darker color acting as that shadowing in stenciling. I see that a lot now. So you don't just have one color that you're doing. But if you only have one or two colors of an ink in that family, then use the same color and go over it a few times just to darken it up. So there, we can see that really changes the look. I think small town stampedes are so much better. Yeah, you don't have to hang on to your kids and worry, and probably people are wearing a little more clothes than they wear downtown in Calgary. So I agree. Maybe we should take a trip out to that stampede. I know the girls would really like it, so All right, so now we've got this third stencil, and it took me, I had to watch a video to figure this out. So this is going to do the middle. We've got a couple different areas here. There we go. This is the middle of the flowers. You also have the stem. And then over here, these two things are separate. So these are petals that we're going to move up here. But for now, this and these are the rest of your petals. So you're going to do a little bit of masking with this one here. So the middle part, I'm going to actually go to the green, but we are going to do, you know what we're going to do is we're going to take for the little centers, because I want those to be green or yellow, like a yellowish. We're just going to put, and really, I mean, if you get a little bit of ink into a different spot, it's totally fine. I moved the stencil, so let's get that back. Okay. So all I'm doing here is making sure that I'm getting the petals first. And then I'll do the branches after. So you could do brown, or we're going to use these. I really like this color combination. It reads kind of green or brown depending on what you're using it for. Okay, so we'll go back and do, I want these petals to be a little bit darker, but not super dark. So I'm thinking maybe we'll go in with this second lightest color again. And I mean, you can't really go wrong. Linda, they are beautifully. Yeah, more clothes. Earlier in the season, so it's not as hot, I guess. Okay. So this is back to that second color. Now I did see some examples where some people did this all green, so it looked kind of like there was that these were leaves, and you could do that too. And I'm just doing the whole thing a little bit darker than I did the last time. So just by adding color the whole way a little bit darker, you're just getting a little bit more of a darker look, shadowy look. But you could do the whole thing green or whatever color you're doing your stem, and there's no wrong way to do it. Then I'm going to come in with the darkest color, and I'm just going to add a little bit of that. So it's just kind of looking a little bit darker. And again, I'm just starting on the stencil and then pulling it off and just making it look like more of a shadow. So whether you're using your own ink pads, and you could probably go through and swatch your inks. That's where it's helpful to swatch your inks and find 3 or 4 different tones that are similar but just kind of darken up. You could do that. This is just kind of nice and easy because they've already done that work for you. Okay, I'm going to wipe off this ink, because when I do, oops, where's my package? When I do the green, brown, I don't want it mixing with the red. So you can see, like, that's how easy it is to wipe off. if you're using an ink that seems to not want to wipe off your stencils, sometimes it's easiest to spray it with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. And then we're just going to put this back on. And I try to give my hands a wipe so that if I have any ink on there, it's not going to transfer. So now we're going to do the insides of these. I'm not worried about any of the green getting here, because if it does, it's just going to be brown anyways and darken it up. It's not a big deal. So we're going to do the stem and we're going to do the inside. But I'm going to do the inside, this lightest color, which almost looks like kind of a greeny yellow type color. Let's see. Let's go with this. So right in the center. So this is going to look kind of yellow when we get it all done. And then we'll go to the darker color because I want the stem to kind of look almost like a brown. So this is the second darkest. And all I did to clean these brushes off after is I just wiped it on a wipe or a damp paper towel or a damp cloth. I really didn't do anything too crazy. Now this line here, I talked to Rosie who works with Altenew, and she said she doesn't think, it doesn't seem to be for anything. I tried it in several different ways and I watched videos, and it just seems to be maybe it's dividing this part from these two petals. So don't worry about that line. It does not seem to be anything. And then we'll add just a little bit of shading with that darkest color, but we don't need a lot. And also, I wouldn't really worry about wiping things off in between the same color family unless you're going from dark to really light. So this is the darkest one. And I'm not even doing too much with this. I'm just, a couple areas, adding a little bit of shading. Okay. And then we just have to finish up those last two petals. So we'll just give this a wipe again. So very easy. It's looking so pretty though, hey? And I love the way the petals look with the different inks. I personally would have a really hard time. I missed this one. I'll have to go back for that one. I would have I would have a hard time really getting this effect with markers, mainly because I'm not patient enough. I don't want to get anything here, so I'm just going to put that there. And again, I'll do the same color combination as I did for the last leaves. And these are really quick because they're pretty small. So what's everybody else up to? Lorraine's been busy with Stampede. I feel like I'm finally catching up after my daughter's wedding, which was so wonderful. And I probably could have wiped my brush off because this is probably a little bit darker just because I have this darker ink. Maybe I have this darker ink, but I'm okay with that as well. So we're done with graduation and with weddings, and school's almost done. Okay, now I just have to, I missed this little one that was off to the side. This is stencil number 1. So this was the lightest ink. I might actually, I'm just going to try and ink it up down here just because I've got a lot of ink on this. I don't want to get it too dark. And then I am not even going to add anything. I'm just going to use ink that's on there. There we go. Okay, so how beautiful does that look? Like, just gorgeous, and it was so easy. All right, you're making card friends. I love it, Connie. Do you have specific cards that you're looking to send out right now, or are you just making them to have them in your stash? Yeah, it's a great effect. Hey, Linda. Thanks. This is that Spellbinders Best Ever Craft Tape. I am definitely a fan. I'm just going to line up this die. And then we'll run this through our die cut machine. And you can see, like, this would look beautiful if you had a 12 by 12 page and you wanted to put this on a scrapbook page, and you could put like 2 in the corners and then have something in the center. I think it would look beautiful. Just because, Connie, I think that is a great plan. Just because you're enjoying it, and then you have some cards in your stash. That's perfect. You do need to pull out some teacher cards before end of the year. And I find that it's a good time to go through my stash, and if I have cards that, you know, I haven't sent out and I have extras, then I put 5 with matching or just with envelopes into a little pack, and then tie a piece of ribbon around it and put that in with the teacher gifts. And they have cards to give out to people. So okay, so there, I mean, it looks even more amazing once you cut it out, right? Isn't that incredible? Okay, and then we are going, let's move this. Then we're going to emboss our mirrored cardstock. So we've got that. We've got a piece of mirrored cardstock, our card base, and this is cut to 6 1/4 by 4 3/4 And you can see there's lots of space left over. Teachers would love having, yes. I think people like getting some stuff that's a little bit different and that they can use too, because lots of people don't have, you know, extra cards. And when you think about the price of a Hallmark card, so this is a 3D folder, and I have the Platinum 6. And depending on your machine, I don't need both plates. I just need one of the plates, like my top plate, and then the base, and just run that through. My daughter did one of her first PAT tests today, so she did a math one. She hasn't had any exams ever because of COVID. So look at this, like it's just amazing. So you'll find that metallic, any kind of metallic or mirrored cardstock is going to just make that design pop. So we're just going to glue this down. And this is a good way to just get a really great background, but I knew I didn't want any more color, like pattern paper on the background, just because I wanted the flower to be the focus, but you still have a really beautiful background. And you can use either side of that. So you could turn that embossing folder over and have the reverse effect. Okay, now for this one here, I ended up putting foam, but there was quite a few little areas that needed foam, and I get tired of cutting all that foam. So I'm always looking for an easy solution. So I thought I would cut 3 pieces out of this die cut. It's a really, you know, a fairly simple die cut. And I wanted to see if this went together easier than putting the foam all on the background. I mean, it wasn't that difficult. It was just, I decided to try it this way too. So we end up having the 3 thicker paper die cuts, and then this top one that I stenciled was probably like an 80-pound white cardstock. So it lines up pretty nicely. You can just line it up, especially when you use the liquid glue. You have a few minutes to adjust it. Then you have this almost like a chipboard effect. This would as well, I think, look really nice if you had some kind of home decor that you were doing and framing it. It looks beautiful. And one thing I did forget to do is to line it up and cut off the edges before putting it down. So I'm just going to grab a pencil and we'll mark it. So what I did with this one is I actually placed it right on to this piece here, and then I cut it. But because I forgot to do that, I'm just going to mark it and trim it off. So if you cut it first, then you don't have to do this. Or you could have it hanging over in some spots, and that would look fine as well. And it's a little thicker, so you want to use some nice heavy-duty scissors. These are still my go-to scissors. I don't think they make the red-handled ones anymore. I think they're black. But these are my favorite. But you don't ever want to cut die cuts with them because, speaking from experience, it's not a good idea. Okay, so that's going to go on there. But before we put it on, I thought we'd do this little trick to add some thread on there because I haven't done that for a long time. Thanks, Linda. So if you want to add some thread, what I'm going to do is get my glue dot ready. I've got a little glue dot waiting here. And I'm going to, I want it kind of loose, so I'm going to put it around 3 fingers. And I'm just keeping a hold of it here, and do it as many times as you want. This is just cheap metallic thread from like the dollar store. Okay, so we've got it around, I don't know, 6 or 7 times. I'm keeping a hold of it right here, and we're going to stick this onto the glue dot, because otherwise as soon as you let go of it, it's going to go crazy. Then I know that my sentiment's going to go up here, so I can just stick it down. That's just holding it for now, but this and our sentiment are going to be glued over it. So let's glue this down first. It's just kind of a nice way to add some sparkles on, and it still doesn't distract a whole lot if you're trying to focus on one thing, like your flower. Okay, I'm just going to put that upside down because I want it to stick, and then we'll cut this out. So I stamped this sentiment. So thrifty. I am thrifty. These are serrated slightly, yes. Yeah. Then I'm going to, and how are you, Debbie? I'm going to take these little cutter bee scissors, which are not serrated, and they're great for fussy cutting. And you know how the honeybee stamps, they have those dies that cut out all their sentiments, which I love. But I love that look of kind of the bubble letters. I think Lorraine does that as well. And so just by cutting around your sentiment, you get that really cool look. Kind of like you had the dies to go with these. And if you move your paper, not your scissors, you're going to get a very smooth cut. And that was just stamped with the Altenew Obsidian pigment ink. I'm not sure if there's any in right now. I know she had gotten that in stock, and I don't know if it's sold out or not. But it is one of my favorite inks for stamping, especially sentiments. I also love these 3D foam strips. So these are non-stick as well. So if you're using them to cut foam, nothing sticks to it, and you don't have to try and clean your scissors off. And if you're using the big roll of the 3L tape as well, it's the same thickness, and so you can interchange. Okay. So then we're going to put this layered right over here. So it's catching more of that thread in, but still some of it's loose, and that looks great. And then we're going to add a little bit of white gel pen. This is the Jelly Roll. I like the number 10. This is a number 8. It works fine too, but I find the 10 is so smooth and nice, and you just add some lines or some dots and it just really highlights. And then we're going to go with some of these little things from Lucy's cards. So there's various ones in the shop. And I thought we'd just, because I can't do a card without any, you know, sequins, apparently. So then we can just add 3 of these, not so much glue. But I'm just going to wipe that off. And I have lost my cloth. Okay, I got it. Okay. So it is definitely helpful to have some kind of a gem picker type thing. And let's see. Okay, we're not going to put that one on. There we go. That one I think will go right there. You don't even need much of this glue and it will stick. I also like the Nouveau Deluxe adhesive. I find that works really well as well. Okay, and then we'll go with this one because I want to put 3 on here, so maybe I'm just going to see what this looks like. Maybe right there. I'm going to put it right here. And then this will dry clear, so anything that's liquidy is just going to dry. And you won't even see it. Oh, and I did grab this as well. A little glitter. Your thing is decorating the inside. You can't give a, yes, I agree. It does really make that difference. Also use the outside of the stamp, trace around it, and a shadow. That's a great idea. I love that idea. That is very smart. I don't want to squeeze this too much because I feel like there's something maybe that is stuck in there and I need to squeeze it off to the side. And we've all been there, right? Okay, I think it's working now. So I'm just going to put a few little drops, and this is the Nouveau Glitter Drops, and it's the White Blizzard. So it's just going to dry clear, has like a bit of an iridescent kind of shine to it. And then that will dry shiny and sparkly. And yes, I think putting something inside, like Debbie said, really, you could even stamp this flower with like a light gray ink inside or a light pink ink. That would go. The lightest one of this one, whoops, this one here. And then add your sentiment, add a sentiment inside, and that will look beautiful. So there you go. That's our finished card. Thank you, Connie. Yeah, easy peasy. It was just fun and relaxing to do, and you know, hopefully there's something, a fun idea that you guys can use. We have our challenge this month is food and drink. So you have all June to enter a project, and then we will pick a winner for a gift card for the Shotz store. yeah, anything you like to eat or drink or food or drink related. Thank you guys. Just a faint stamp, yes. Thanks, Lorraine. What else? If you haven't signed up for the newsletter, make sure you do that. You can sign up on the blog page, and we're posting anything that we have going on, or new stuff in the shop or fun things. The new color is coming out on Saturday for Tim Holtz. Okay, what's your guess, Lorraine? I don't know. Were you right the last time? I don't know. I'm always wrong. So the new color, the pre-orders in the shop, if you know that you want it, I know that I want everything, so I've already ordered. Thanks, Linda. You can go ahead and place that order, and then the color will be revealed on Saturday. Tim's doing a live Facebook and YouTube. I think it's just YouTube live on Saturday to reveal the color. You think purple, Debbie? Yeah. You're saying green. Okay. I know it's not yellow because he said he's not doing any more yellows. He's kind of filling in gaps. So I don't know. I'm going to say brown. That's just off the top of my head. Brown. But whatever color, I know that I'm going to love it. So if you want to order that, those are there. There's lots of new stuff, lots of sale stuff. Yeah, and just have a great week. Have a great weekend. Take some time for yourself and do something crafty. Purple or orange? Okay, so we're going to have to see who's right. All right, guys, thank you for hanging out with me, and I will talk to you guys next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.